almost 15 years ago, we decamped to Washington, D.C. and started the JWI Institute. We saw the challenge at Amherst, and we felt also that Hadley's teacher should be broadly, shall we say, representing. And we put together what I would call a little venture capital fund to get it started. And some of you in here participated in that. And sure enough, we have been going for 15 years. Hadley, by the way, is our biggest donor. Hadley gave his time for years and years with no compensation. We pay him slightly less than the janitor. He enjoys it. He doesn't have to clean. He does. We created JWI, which is the equivalent of a Department of Law, Politics, and Philosophy that I think would be the pride of any university 25 years ago. Today, you can't get this into a university.
I didn't end up with a clerkship. I came right out of law school to get ready to run for office in Fairfax. And ran in a district, they said you'd never win. I had 63%. I learned about coalitions, taking them apart, and we knocked down incumbent with 63%. Then for chairman of the board, which I equivalent of the mayor, not the one average 66%, and won a House race against an incumbent. It's not the easy way to get there as they were running for office in time. But I took the tools that Hamlin had taught us about political coalitions, party cohesiveness, and the like, and expanded my intellectual horizons. And just broadened the way we look at campaigns. And while other folks were running these party-based races, I'm running at 25 different races in this magisterial district of 100,000 people.
But to me, I'm always happy to honor you and reminisce on the past. But in my brief time, I'd actually like to talk about the present. Because you may not agree, but I actually firmly believe that your voice has never been more important, more necessary than it is right now. Right now. Why do I say that? Well, the conservative movement obviously benefited greatly from Anthony Scalia and Robert Bullock and the move to originalism and textualism about 40 years ago, and really helped us curb the excesses. I think the whole thing, the whole project, the Warren and Berger courts. But as helpful as that has been, I think in some ways it was an incomplete project because it doesn't really say much about the capability of the moral account of itself or really anything else. And these are questions that Professor Arkes has been teaching all of his students for a long time. But it feels like in recent years, other conservatives are starting to take notice.
I was calling my words when we launched this project a dozen years ago. I said, when we launched this project years ago, I offered this plea to our friends who were doing conservative jurisprudence. I said, why should we settle here with a moment reasoning about the law that gives us a kind of sing-song morality with terms like activism, which explain nothing, have no content. Some think that the effort to address the moral questions that stand at the heart of the law, the effort to do it is just too ambitious, too risky, and too likely to license literature. So our friends saw safety in contriving formulas of positive law, while cautioning us in here not to ask the kinds of questions that run beneath the surface to the core of things. But in that path, I heard that there has been no safety and no prudence. And beyond it, no coherence. We cannot give the most coherent account of the law we are shaping when falls to us to shape it. So the question at the end is, I said, why should we settle for anything so diminished when measured against the gravity of those questions before us? Why would a conservative jurisprudence book, why would the rebels strengthen conservative jurisprudence? By drawing again on the understanding of that first generation on that the rights, a teaching that will always be with us to be read and learn to do. And then I say, where could we find a better assurance that the law preserving would be as comprehensible and compelling as resident with common sense in the next generation as it is in our own, and that's what it will have to be. That was it.